So Kareem Hunt spoke with the media today for the first time since getting signed to the practice squad last week, then signed to the roster yesterday, and he had quite the message about his return game this Sunday against the Chargers. So I've got to talk about that, Travis Kelce's lack of production, and a weird conspiracy theory floating around about it, the Chargers already charging as far as injuries are concerned, and more. But first, how about those? All right, first up, yesterday it was announced that the Chiefs officially signed running back Kareem Hunt to the 53-man roster after adding him to the practice squad last week. And even though they had room to keep running back Keontay Ingram on the 53, a guy they added to the active roster late last week for game day as a just-in-case guy against the Falcons, they waived him from the roster as well yesterday, and I imagine we'll add him back to the practice squad once he clears waivers. So, after a week, Kareem Hunt is ready to some extent to suit up and play, and he's going to see some sort of playing time this Sunday against the Chargers. Andy Reid shared today that Kareem Hunt had a good week of practice last week, taking the majority of the scout team reps, and he looked like he was in pretty good shape. Therefore, they decided to sign him to the 53-man roster, and the next step is to get him into a game, rotate him in, and see how he does. He doesn't yet know, talking about Andy Reid, what the workload is going to be for Hunt. They just want to work him in and get him into the swing of things and see how it goes. They will roll him from there as far as how many snaps he will actually play. Of course, a big factor regarding how much Hunt is going to play and work in is just kind of depends on how comfortable he is with the playbook. He's only been there roughly a week, and it's been over 5 years since he was last on the team, so there's going to be some definite growing pains there for sure. And he did say his retention seemed pretty good last week, and another week of practice is going to help him even more. Quote, he's got a pretty good feel of what we are doing. So, it seems like Hunt is catching on quickly, and I'm excited to see him get some work in this Sunday in LA. Mahomes is also excited to have Kareem Hunt back in the mix, even though he feels like they have some great players already back there in the running back room, even sans Pacheco, including Carson Steele, who did a nice job during his rookie debut, per the words of Andy Reid. And it wasn't his first game as a rookie, to be clear, but he was the definite starter, quote unquote. And this is what Andy Reid had to say. Steele is hitting the right holes, working the daylight, and finishing routes. And he also shared how they cleaned up his ball security from the week prior. He had a fumble, and he's a guy that isn't afraid to come at you. However, Coach Reid did say that Steele does have some things to clean up in the pass protection aspect of things, which is to be expected for a rookie, so he's doing all he can to correct that and clean up his pass pro. It's just going to take some time, as it does with any rookie. And from here, I want to dive into Kareem Hunt's presser, which to me was kind of emotional to watch as he shared about how he's excited to be back, and things have kind of gone full circle, even making a bold statement about his return. But before I do, Chiefs Bids is back with another partnered giveaway featuring this full-size helmet signed by the best kicker in the NFL, Harrison Butker. And to enter for your chance to win, you're actually going to want to go to the bids portion of the official Chiefs app. So if you haven't already, download the Chiefs app from your preferred app store. This is where Chiefs Bids updates items to bid on all the time, from signed footballs, helmets, jerseys, cards, the list goes on, so make sure to check back frequently to see what else gets added. Also, this week they have several mystery boxes up featuring autographed commemorative tickets from Week 1's win over Baltimore, Week 3's matchup against the Falcons, and they will be releasing commemorative tickets from each and every game this season. You can even buy this custom commemorative ticket frame to collect them all, which is pretty cool. And once you are in the bids portion of the Chiefs app by selecting more, then bids, if you want to enter for your chance to win this full-size helmet signed by Harrison Butker, just select the filter button at the top right, change the offer type to giveaways, and the helmet will immediately pop up for you. And if you don't want to use the app, even though that's the easiest and most preferred way, you can also click the link at the top of my description to go to their website and enter that way as well. Either way you choose, make sure to fill out your profile, including a shipping address and card info, because the winner will have to pay for shipping, which is still an absolute steal for this full-size helmet signed by the best kicker in the league. All right, Kareem Hunt himself spoke to the media today, telling them that honestly, he didn't think he would ever end up back in Kansas City based on how things went in 2018, but it's crazy to see how things work out sometimes. He was young back then in 2018. He was about 23 years old, had a lot of success going for him, and has really grown since then. He's got to think before every decision and has reflected a lot on things over the years, learning from it all. And even though he wasn't in KC for over 5 years, he was very happy to see all their success. It was hard to be watching instead of playing with the guys, his friends, and a coach he loves in Andy Reid, but he was so excited to see his friends achieve their goal of winning multiple Super Bowls, mentioning specifically how happy he was for Andy Reid more than once. He's been real close with Mahomes over the years, with them being both drafted together in 2017, and really enjoyed seeing everyone at Mahomes' wedding back in 2022. Now that he's back with the Chiefs, it's all been a bit emotional for him, a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but he couldn't be more excited to go out there and help the guys defend their back-to-back titles.
It was a lot, honestly. A lot of emotions. I was very excited, a little nervous, and I said, these guys know me. I just got to go and be myself.
Hunt played through injuries last year, fighting through it all season, but in January of 2024, he got that taken care of. And now that he's healthy and ready to go, he envisions going out there, doing whatever he's asked to do at the highest level.
It's been a long time coming. I can't wait to put on the red again and put it all on the line for them. And I envision going out there and, whatever I'm asked to do, just do it at the highest level and, help find a way to, keep this winning going on around here.
Hunt also believes he's still got that same fire in him that he had when he was initially on the team back in 2017 and half of 2018. And I found what he had to say here pretty awesome and definitely worth sharing with you all.
Yeah, I believe I'm very capable of that still. I'm excited to go, help shock the world and show them I still got it.
Quote, I'm excited to help shock the world and show them that I've still got it. Well, shoot, I admire the confidence, and here we are. I don't know how many reps he's actually going to get in his first game back. I think over time his usage is only going to increase. Then when you combine that with the fact that Pacheco's still going to be out another 6 or so weeks, Hunt has plenty of time to settle in and could even find himself heavily in the rotation upon Pacheco's return, depending on how things go. For now, I'm just excited to see him get another opportunity with the team that drafted him in 2017, given all that's happened, and I really hope he does have some of that fire left. And then it's time to talk more about the lack of production from Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce through 3 weeks of the season. Everyone has their thoughts and opinions as to why that is, which I'll touch on a bit here in a moment, but ultimately, this is the slowest career start for Kelce through 3 weeks in the Mahomes era. PFF released an article yesterday, I believe, showing that his production is a career low in basically every category since 2018. But when Andy Reid was asked about this today during his presser with the media, he didn't seem bothered by it, and in fact made sure to mention that Kelce is not distracted with off-the-field stuff and is indeed working hard, just seeing a lot of attention.
I know people are saying that he's old or whatever, has distractions and all this, and the defenses don't think that. We have another receiver that plays opposite him that has a lot of yards and catches, and that's how this thing goes. Travis is fine. He works his tail off, and he hasn't lost a step and all those things. He's not distracted. That's not the case.
I mean, this definitely tracks with what I've seen on film. Kelce is often getting double-teamed, but has also been open on several plays. Plus, per fantasy points data, Kelce is still the 10th best player at creating separation in his routes ran from the slot. And the most impressive thing about this to me is he's the only tight end on this list in the top 10, and it shows through 3 games. He hasn't really fallen off. In spite of that, there are times where Mahomes is either looking elsewhere, missing Kelce being open completely, or goes with a different option. Mahomes also isn't playing his best football right now either. If I'm going to be honest with you all, he's been off on several throws, and then he has thrown 4 interceptions this season, which is actually tied for 3rd most, only behind Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. To be clear though, I'm not all that worried. It's still very early on in the season, and week 2 in particular was a nightmare for Mahomes, with Kingsley Suamataia getting worked over so badly by Trey Hendrickson that he actually lost his starting spot to Wanye Morris. Still though, all this stuff factors in. I also think that losing Hollywood Brown for basically the entire regular season due to injury really threw a wrinkle in KC's offensive game plan, and they are still kind of going through the growing pains of that. I am glad Juju is back, but it's all good. It's going to take time, and there's no real panic here. After all, the team is still 3-0 and has a pretty good chance of being 4-0 after Sunday's game against the Chargers for a couple reasons I'll get into in a moment. Now, Mahomes shared about stuff he's working through today with the media, saying the first week there was some good things with his timing and rhythm. The second game, he started out okay and got worse as the game went on, as Lou Anarumo made some changes. That's what I surmised from his week 2 performance. Then the third week, he started out rough and got a bit better in the second half. Things won't always immediately pay off, even though he wants it to, but if you get back to work and focus on improving, it will eventually. He learned that last year, especially. Sometimes it's going to be slower growing pains than ideal. His goal this week in practice, though, is to work on the little things, staying on top of his fundamentals to make sure even though the easy passes he normally makes at practice without even having to think about it are completed accurately in these games. Ultimately, he wants to execute at a higher level on offense in order to put less overall strain on the defense. Historically, the Chiefs' offense in the Mahomes era has been able to help close out games, but they've struggled at times to put the game out of reach for the opponents, and it's put more strain on the defense that has thankfully held up strong. But in a perfect world, you don't want to always have to rely on the defense so much. Now, with all that being said, if we go back to Kelce and his production, I kind of rabbit trailed based on Mahomes' performance as well. Kelce isn't upset about his quote-unquote lack of production. At the end of the day, he cares about winning games more than anything else.
Whatever it is, it's football, baby. Come on now. Like, I'm not getting caught up in getting the targets and all that. I just want to have a successful offense. I've had a lot of catches in this league, man. I'm not worried about the catches and the yards and all of that.
Mahomes pretty much echoed this in his presser today about Kelce's mindset, but Mahomes does really want to get him the ball because he knows how much of a key piece he is to the offense.
I want to get him the ball more, whereas he's just like, I just want to win, man. I don't care. Like, I'll run these routes and take guys with me so that other guys can get open. We understand he's an important part of this offense, and we want to make sure that we're still featuring him. But at the same time, if defenses are going to take away him, I feed the ball to other guys and let them make plays. But as the season goes on, if we continue to show that we're going to throw it to Rasheed and we're going to throw it to these other guys and they're going to make plays, teams are going to have to do those one-on-one matchups, and that's when Travis will eat.
So there's the reasons why. And it's sadly, to some, not this weird conspiracy floating around that Mahomes is intentionally not targeting Kelce on the field because his wife leans one way politically and Travis Kelce leans another way. That is completely false. Not only is it false, it's completely ludicrous. Pat and Trav are pretty much best friends and have been so for many years. And to think Mahomes would intentionally not target Kelce, even risking losing a game due to a difference in political beliefs, is actually insane. Remember, Mahomes doesn't care about that like some would make it seem.
I don't want my place and my platform to be used to endorse a candidate or do whatever. Either way, whenever I'm hanging out with whoever, I'm not thinking about their political views or anything like that. I'm thinking about the people and how they treat other people.
Anyway, if we move on from that stupidity, Travis Kelce also complimented the guy right now on offense in Rashee Rice. With the attention Kelce is getting, Rice is taking real advantage of that in the middle of the field, and it's definitely working. He's currently one of the top receivers in fantasy, with the stats being proof of how well he's playing. He's currently second in receiving yards, first in reception, and yards after the catch among all receivers, any and every receiver in the NFL, which is pretty wild. But it reflects how much work Rice is putting in. Andy Reid said just that about Rice's work ethic, but also mentioned that he gleans all he can from Mahomes and what he expects out of him during real game reps. He's receptive to all that and is always wanting to grow. Mahomes said that Rice being hard to tackle is a great asset he has, and then when he's getting these one-on-one matchups, he's winning, and that's all you can really ask for. That also goes for others out there on offense. Noah Gray, Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, anybody getting less attention because of the extra Kelce is getting. If they continue to take advantage of that, teams will eventually be forced to pay less attention to Travis Kelce to cover up some of these other guys. Now, the Chargers defense will certainly have their hands full this Sunday with the Chiefs offense because on top of Joey Bosa dealing with a hip issue, safety Derwin James has actually been suspended for one game for, quote, repeatedly breaking player safety rules, and the final straw being a hit he made by lowering the crown of his helmet in the game against the Steelers. He tried to appeal the suspension, but per Adam Schefter, it was upheld, and James will not be playing this Sunday. Many disagree with the suspension, with some even saying this is only happening because KC is the next opponent, but conspiracy theorists like this are proven to have an extremely low IQ, and I soak up their tears like a cactus in the middle of a freaking desert. That's not all the issues the Chargers have either. Justin Herbert is dealing with a high ankle sprain from the game before last, an injury that he tried to play through last week and got taken out because he came up limping in the second half. Herbert did practice today, per the words of Jim Harbaugh, though. However, 3 other key players did not practice today, with those being starting right tackle Joe Alt, who has an MCL sprain, starting left tackle Rashawn Slater, who has a pec strain, and outside linebacker Joey Bosa with that hip injury. So, the Chiefs are playing the Chargers with a banged-up starting quarterback that is maybe going to be playing. And even if he does, it could very well be without both of his starting tackles. Then their main pass rusher is banged up again, and their safety, Derwin James, is suspended. That's why everybody and their mother are picking the Chiefs to win this game. They are pretty healthy, aside from Pacheco and Hollywood, who are out on IR, and everybody on the active roster did practice today in some capacity, including Rice and Nick Bolton, who got a bit beat up in last week's game. However, even though the Chargers are the way more injured team already, I still think the Chiefs will somehow make this a down-to-the-wire nail-biter that has all of our blood pressure levels higher than Snoop Dogg on an airplane. I mean, I hope it's relaxing and it's a 2+ score victory, easy dubs for the Chiefs, but it is an AFC West opponent, after all, that has one of the best defenses in the NFL and a pretty incredible running back in J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to have my full preview of this matchup. It's going to come out on Friday. But until then, let me know your thoughts on the official return of Kareem Hunt this Sunday, as he's going to see playing time, as well as your thoughts around the Week 4 matchup in LA. Then don't forget to enter for your chance to win that full-size Harrison Butker signed helmet on Chiefs Bids. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?